Hello everyone. In today's video, I want to cover the topics that I missed during Black History Month. We can consider this African American Month. It actually is African American Women's Month. May can be Melanin Month, and then we have Juneteenth. I'm trying to catch up on my way to the 100th video. This is number 97. I've noticed that a lot of travelers currently are looking for places to visit in the United States, and I thought this would be a great time to cover the Deep South. First, we covered Atlanta, and now I'm going to get into Birmingham. This city was pivotal in the civil rights movement. There's cultural history, lots of museums, fried food, and Black businesses to support. I'm going to compile everything that I did in a day. I think you're going to enjoy this one. Since this is all in a day, I'm going to kind of position the things to do, the places to go, the eateries all within kind of one area, of course, starting with downtown. If you are going to be flying into Birmingham, the airport is BHM. I thought that was great because BHM, Black History Month. And I really like this airport. It is small, it's nice, comfy. They have a sensory room. I want to talk more in the future about how these rooms are great for tourists who experience anxiety, families of children, adults who have autism. It's really great to have these sensory rooms, and you can find one at the Birmingham International Airport. So you could check in flights. For these day trips, you might want to get in before 8 a.m., fly out from your city and try to get there, I'd say, as early as possible. And of course, if you're driving, you're going to be on I-65, I think. Depending where you're coming from. Y'all, I'm directionally challenged. If you're staying here, you could stay at the Hampton Inn. There's the Birmingham East Irondale. These are all Black owned, I believe, hotels. So the first thing that you're going to do is go to the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. This is going to cost you $15. This area is walkable. For Black history highlights, you have the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. As first as you get in, you sit down, there is a quick film for you to watch, and then the tour starts. It's self-guided. You can pace yourself. I'd say no more than an hour. It's up to you. Birmingham stands at the crossroads of civil rights history and Black entrepreneurship. You're going to walk the same streets where protesters made history. There were lots of sit-ins, the fight for freedom. You get to see the difference between a white schoolroom and a Black schoolroom. I really liked how they had the replicas of how it was living during that time. All right, whether it was school, church, I was able to see the pew. Okay, a lot of information for you to take in. Yes, it can get very heavy. So that's why if you pace it out and maybe do something more uplifting afterwards, then that would be great for you to do. As you know, the struggle, I feel like we are still in it, but it continues. They showed how life was at home. It was really interesting being able to see the stacks of the shirts as they were comparing the students per white teacher, students per Black teacher, how that number increased. And then in 1950, how 73% of Black males worked as laborers compared to 33% of white males worked as laborers. So they had a stack of books and then the stacks of shirts divided into the colors white and blue. They talked about how as a Black man, looking a white man in the eye, refusing to move out of his way, smiling at a white woman could mean death. Going to court was hopeless since juries were all white. All right, this is the Deep South we are talking about here. Black images in the white mind. All right, we're talking about Mammy, Sambo. Although they are painful to look at, these everyday objects tell the story how the African American image was distorted by whites. They embodied a myth of white supremacy that shaped race relations throughout the 20th century. The most famous one or popular one that people know today is Aunt Jemima. For entertainment, they were selling a cruel stereotype, these caricatures of us, the exaggerated features, the big bulgy eyes. It is highly offensive, my friends. Birmingham long had a reputation as one of the South's most fiercely segregated cities. When Blacks spoke out for justice, they risked violent retaliation by white segregationists who resorted to terror and threats. This was happening from the late 1940s until the mid 1960s. Nearly 50 unsolved, racially directed bombings led to the unofficial name Birmingham. Of course, here you're going to see the path to Montgomery. This is where we see Rosa Parks, where she refused to give up her seat on the bus. Ain't gonna ride no more. I loved how they kind of gave you a timeline as the path to freedom continued. They quickly mentioned the sit-ins. Here we had the welcome table. This was the 1960s. And it's just really great. They even had pieces from the Greyhound bus. Segregation on the interstate buses persisted in the South. May 4, 1961, 7 blacks and 6 whites set out on a freedom ride from D.C. to New Orleans to confront the system. Despite the resistance, Congress of Racial Equality and other groups sponsored rides throughout the summer. It is very hot in Alabama in the deep summer, so you can imagine what they went through. Birmingham, the world is watching. I cannot spend all of my time on this Civil Rights Institute, but there's lots of history here. You're going to see part of the jail cell where Dr. King wrote his letter. He was in solitary confinement in 1963, April 13th, arrested for parading without a permit. And they displayed the excerpts. It's 6,500 words. It was very touching and sad to see the girls who lost their lives. I mean, they showed the pictures here, all ages, I believe, to be 11. My first words were, my baby, my baby. That was Maxine McNair right after the explosion. I called my sister. I called about 3 times. Addie, Addie, Addie. Addie didn't answer. And like I said, the struggle continues still for African Americans as far as public safety, employment, public works, and justice. I like this figure of the statues that was very powerful as well. Their current exhibit, when I visited, it was titled The Victors Write the Algorithm. I thought this was very powerful because it talked about how social media transformed communication by allowing Black creators to publish, archive, and mobilize narratives outside traditional gatekeeping. Many of you remember BLM, that hashtag Black Lives Matter. These platforms became spaces for cultural innovation, political organizing, and community teaching. These same systems that amplify Black creativity also reproduce inequities such as algorithmic bias. I already know this being a Black creator on multiple platforms. Go ahead and subscribe, like, and follow. Content suppression and unequal credit for viral trends. This is very common on TikTok. YouTube, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of doing something different as far as I'm not a travel vlogger. I'm just giving you guys the information. They had the Year in Wellness. This is great, where it highlighted how a lot of Black women focused on themselves. I'm thinking of Black Girls Day Off, more women using up their PTO and just focusing on their mental health. It was a great movement. I talked about this in my videos last year, but they just didn't hit. So I kind of am redeeming myself through this. Why famous Blacks died young. I really like this one, you guys. Here is a cover from the Ebony magazine, The White Problem in America. And here is where we get into more of the magazines, where they shape the nation's sense of self. They act as cultural mirrors. And when it comes to Black America, look at Aunt Jemima, those exaggerated features. Gollywog. Some of you might not know this. It is depicted as a type of rag doll. Jet black skin, eyes that are rimmed in white, the exaggerated red lips. You see my lips, like where are they getting this from? And frizzy hair, based on blackface minstrel tradition. Highly upsetting. Sambo. I don't know if I said samba earlier. This was a common stock character in the minstrel shows and literature. It portrayed Black men as exaggerated, caricatured figures who were joyful, lazy, or irresponsible. Remember, this was through the eyes of whites. During the American Civil War, it was used as a derogatory generalized name for African Americans. I mentioned Mammy earlier. This depicts Black women. It's rooted in the history of slavery because the enslaved Black women were tasked with the duties of domestic workers in white American households. They had to prepare the meals, clean the home, raise the enslavers' children. Out of these circumstances arose the image of the Mammy, as you see here. My experience, it started out a little rocky, y'all. I knew that it was going to be $15. That was not an issue. I had a small bag because I read online, they don't want you taking large items into the museum. I get it. However, some people were getting in with larger bags. And when I pulled up, they were like, okay, ma'am, here's your ticket after I paid. But then they were like, oh, sorry, your bag can't come in. You need to pay $1 and put it in a locker. And I said, well, why did you just let these other people get in? Y'all, Sometimes our people, we got to do better. Anyways, so I put my bag, they have these raggedy lockers that you're seeing here. I paid the dollar and I put my bag in there. It made no sense, especially when you are walking through the museum and you see other people with their bags who they didn't even question. Like, what is this about? I don't get it. I was already kind of over it because of the entrance. They also said you can't chew gum. They have all these rules. You can't bring in a tripod because they don't want you touching the items. And if you do want to bring a tripod, you would have to submit a filming request ahead of time and pay a hefty fee for that as well. Obviously, there is no flash allowed. The thing is, I read up on these entry requirements and still was just shocked that they had me pay for my small bag, but whatevs. While I was there, it was nice to see, obviously, a lot of schools, public schools come here for field trips. It was nice to see the students reading about how the victors write the algorithm and how it's changed today. So overall, I am going to say that this was a great tour for me to take in all of the Black history. Of course, I went to Black schools growing up. I knew this information. I'm just trying to portray it to you all. I don't know if everyone is comfortable traveling to the South during this administration. I do get it. I tell people a lot when they ask me as far as, oh, you solo travel, like, how are you not scared? I was like, I literally can go anywhere. I am most scared to travel in my own home country, the United States. And I mean, to this day, I still stand by that. I know I started with the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. You could start with a hot beverage. I like to start my day, warm up my vocal cords, because I am probably going to be talking to people, extracting information, collecting information for you guys. Y'all, this is a lot of work when I've been doing these guides. And so it's nice to do that. I was able to do this at Alicia's Coffee. It's Black owned. It's right next to the Gaston Museum. That's what I'm telling you. Everything is right there. The Birmingham Civil Rights Institute, 16th Street Baptist Church. You have the Kelly Ingram Park. It is all around, all around. Sorry. I believe I got a muffin and some type of tea. Usually for my tea, I like it to be peppermint, some type of mint. I do like chamomile, and I'm going to ask them to have it with honey. I did not take any photos, but here's the menu. I liked how they had the individual copies of how the victors write the algorithm, encouraging you to visit the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And I just like the vibe, being around my people, sitting down, you're soaking it all in, you are eating, like you are supporting Black on Black on Black. Like my skin's so black, blackity black. That's a TikTok audio I like to use. All right, and I really could feel that when I started out at the Alicia's Coffee. Alicia's does offer pastries. They offer breakfast, very affordable pricing. They have lunch available. There's Wi-Fi. It's great AC. So I definitely think that you should go to Alicia's Coffee first and then start the rest of your day. So we're still in the morning. If you want to get a tour of the 16th Street Baptist Church, it is available. All I did was take photos of it, you guys. Same for the Kelly Ingram Park. They have sculptures there. All three of these sites are within a few steps of each other, so it's easy for you to knock them out. You're not going to waste your travel time. Once that's done, it would probably be best for you to go to lunch. I did make a list of places for food, you guys, but I feel like I kind of failed in this area. I went to Kill Me Crazy. Y'all, I hadn't really been there before. I don't feel like that's a Birmingham staple. It's just something healthy because I was eating a lot of sweets. As a vegetarian, I didn't necessarily want the vegan things. Like there's some place called All Shucks. I really wasn't feeling like I wanted corn. So I went to Kill Me Crazy. The salad was blah. It's just basic kale. I mean, it's healthy for you, of course, but y'all gonna have to let me know in the comments where to go for Birmingham food for real. So after that, I do want to talk to you quickly about the Negro Southern League Museum. I was able to meet, I don't know if he's the owner, the manager there, and he was giving me a lot of the information about the origins of Black baseball in Birmingham. Their hours of operation, they are closed Sunday, Monday, but they're open Tuesday to Saturday. And I went, not a lot of people were there, maybe a handful. It has been open for some time. I like this nice welcome sign. I don't know what I'm doing here. But it's nice to learn about the Black baseball players on the field. Blacks have been able to be super giants. Once our playing days are over, this is the end of it. We go back, back to the back of the bus again. This was not far, guys, either. Okay, so you're really able to cover a lot of ground without traveling too far. There's the National Monument. I did not talk much about the A.G. Gaston Motel. That's right next to Alicia's Coffee. Also with Kelly Ingram Park, there is a sculptures. You can take the cell phone tour. I covered the Negro Southern League Museum. You can get more information about things to do on the Birmingham's tourism website, inbirmingham.com. For those of you who are non-vegetarian, it doesn't really matter what you eat. You have Saul's Soul Kitchen. There's Miss Myrna's Soul Food, Dreamland Barbecue, Yo Mama's, All Shucks for vegetarians. There's the Pizza's Food Hall. So, I mean, you really could get your Southern comfort delights in Birmingham. You're going to get those classic soul food plates, and some of them are hole in the wall. By this time, it's going to be the afternoon. Usually around this time, I like to stroll in a garden. I like to see greenery and just kind of rest my legs. But again, this is in a day, so you got to keep it pushing, got to keep it moving, right? Sleep at night when the day is over. So for this, you have the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame. There are the Sloss Furnaces. And what I ended up doing was going to see the Birmingham Museum of Art. They have free entry. It was a short visit, I would say. I still was kind of hungry. I didn't eat that much. But I really like the Museum of Art. This year, they were celebrating 200 years of Black American art. I went through the Marks of Intention exhibit. I liked how they had it where you could scan the QR code. You could learn more about the pieces of the art. They even had like little yoga sections where you could sit and meditate. Y'all knew I needed to rest down my legs. I began tired quickly, okay? A lot of these places offer free parking, you guys. It is going to be very easy for travelers. I definitely think that Birmingham should be added to your list. A lot of people like to do a whole Deep South tour, especially for the state of Alabama. Montgomery is not too far, and so they might combine the cities. So look into that as well. There are more coffee shops. I was looking at Grounds Coffee Tea. They are Black owned. You could do some shopping at the Black retail stores. And then for evening, if you plan better than me, you would nicely have your casual dinner night out on the town. Depending on if it's during the week, I would say maybe some light nightlife. Go hit up and see some live jazz. That's kind of my vibe type thing. If you're passing through on the way to Montgomery, that's where a lot of people like to go. You will still feel leaving that you got enough of Birmingham. I also got a sweet treat at KJ's Elegant Pastries. I really like the vibe there. Y'all, this was decadent. Look at all this sugar. Other sugar places, I wrote Jawanda's Sweet Potato Pie. I did not get to go there. I liked how Birmingham has the City Walk. Yep, they had Uptown Jazz, Eugene's Hot Chicken. Again, I don't know if these are Birmingham staples. I liked how they had the Birmingham Visitor Center. There's lots of information like, y'all, I was going in and out of places. Elegant Pastries and Creamer. Where Birmingham Connects, the City Walk Birmingham. And if you walked further down, they kind of had their own little mini civil rights tour that you could look at as well. Art Free for All, thank you, Birmingham. I spoke about the Monet to Matisse. This was the Marks of Intention. And again, it's what you want to see, what you are interested in, you guys. This is obviously doable for one day. It is great for families, solo travelers, couples, anyone. It's great for road trips or just a short, quick stop. Those of you who live in Birmingham, it's great for you. Like a lot of people, they ask about solo travel and I will say, well, tour your city. Have you explored what your own city has to offer? I think this would be more for history lovers. Since this is a one-day visit, it is going to hit hard because these core sites are very concentrated. You can feel the weight, it's very heavy. And so you might want to schedule out your day where it's just not back to back to back and you're just like feeling so down and out. I know I've done that with a lot of the concentration camps. Anyways, that's not Black history. I'm just thinking when I do that, I just feel so down and out. I don't want to do anything else. I'm just like low and the vibes are down. Like you want to keep your energy up because you are traveling alone, right? And I think my spirits were lifted when I was eating that cookie pastry. If you have any more questions, go ahead and let me know. Blah, 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 yada, yada. Where do you think I should travel next? If you enjoyed this Birmingham travel guide, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.